Hello once again, guys. This is another video clip presentation about multiple choice type of test. Specifically, it's general suggestions or specific suggestions or guidelines when we are constructing such type of exam. But before I'll give you or I'll share to you the 32 important suggestions that we need to note and consider, I would just like to give you a short review about the what of multiple choice type of test. Okay, so in a multiple choice type of test, it consists of a stem, each of which presents 3 to 5 alternatives or options in which only one is correct or definitely better than the other choices. The correct option, choice, or alternative in each item is merely called answer, and the rest of the alternatives are called distractors or decoys, or we can also say they are foils. Okay, so this is all about multiple choice type of test, and we know multiple choice type of test is also considered as one of the limited response type in the objective type of test. Okay, so here are now the specific suggestions when we are constructing multiple choice type of test. First, we need to avoid unnecessary unfamiliar terminology. The difficulty of an item should evolve from subject matter rather than from the wordings. Okay, because this may cause difficulty on the part of the learner, and if that will be the case, it will lessen the reliability of that particular item. Number two, in composing multiple choice test item STEM, we need to use definitions, okay, terms. We need to use terms whose definitions are likely to be precise in minds of the examinees. So this particular example should not be done or should not be used in a multiple choice type of test because in this particular STEM, it uses unfamiliar terminologies. So this may lessen the reliability and of the instrument, and it may cause very difficult, okay, it may lead to a very difficult type of item, which is not the ideal item that we need to have in a classroom testing. So after firing an avalanche control cannon recoils at 20 feet per second, what would be the recoil speeds of other cannon, which is twice as heavy and fires the same projectile? So if you are to analyze this, it is very difficult. Okay, it is very difficult to understand what the statement is saying. So the student or a student completely unfamiliar with the term recoil may face unintended extra difficulty. So if this will be the case, again, what I'm saying is it will lessen again the reliability of the test instrument, which we need to avoid. Okay, we need to increase the reliability of our test instrument. We need to have at least moderate difficulty in all the items that we are preparing. Okay, so for the third one, we need to avoid complex or awkward arrangement or word arrangement. Also avoid use of negatives in the STEM, as this may add unnecessary comprehension difficulty. So this will be considered as a poor example of an item in a multiple choice type of test. Which of the following groups of citizens in the Philippines are not allowed to cast their votes in elections? So as you can see, in this item, we use, or I used the word not, which is a negative, which denote a negative statement. So if this will not be avoided, we need to capitalize it or at least bold it or underline it to at least emphasize it to the students that the statement is in negative. Okay, it is in negative. So, but if we can avoid it, we just go to, or we just make the statement or the STEM to be positive. Okay. Next, for the fourth one, avoid double negatives. If we want to avoid negative, we need also to avoid double negative, since when we say double negative, it becomes positive. Why do or why present double negative statement? Where in fact it is very simple. We need a very simple statement in the stem of a multiple choice type of test. So instead of using double negatives, we just use the positive side of it. Okay? So this will be considered as a poor stem. Which of the following is the least unlikely to be speculative purchase? So in this case, it is double negative since we use the word least, tapos unlikely pa siya. So least unlikely. So what does it mean when we say least unlikely? So it would be better if we will state it as which of the following is likely to be the most speculative purchase. So that would be better. Okay? For the fifth one, do not build upon the other question. Keep questions independent from one another. Okay? We make sure that in all the items, they are independent. Okay? They should be independent from each other. So what does it mean? They should not be related to each other. Okay? For the sixth one, do not supply answer to the questions. Avoid providing cues for one question to another. For the seventh, this is what I'm saying a while back, avoid stem or negative stem. If negatives are necessary, they should be emphasized with underlined, bolded, capitalized, italicized, and or colored indicators. Okay? So this should be considered when we cannot avoid presenting negative statement. Okay? Do not introduce unfamiliar vocabulary and concepts in the test unless there is a relevant stated purpose in the test direction. Okay? For the ninth suggestion, we need to use a number of alternatives appropriate to the test item throughout the test. Okay? Generally 3 to 5 number of alternatives should be considered. And we need to, it is necessity to use consistent number throughout the test. If in item number 1 we use 4 choices or 4 alternatives, until the last item we need to use 4 alternatives. Okay? There should be a consistent number of alternatives we are presenting in all the items in a multiple choice type of test. For the 10th, sequence alternatives in logical or numerical order. There should be no should there be no order, randomly assign correct answers in the sequence. So ito po yung ibig sabihin po ng number 10 in terms of arrangement of the alternatives. It should be in logical or in numerical. Okay? And for the 11th one, pay attention to grammatical consistency of all alternatives. Avoid giving clues through the use of faulty grammatical construction. For the 12th, vary position in sequence of alternative. The answer must not only be A or B or C or D. Okay? So we need to randomly select the location of the correct answer from A to D. Okay? Not only concentrated to A, B, or C, D. Alright? For the 13th, include common misconceptions as distractors because this is the role, okay, of being a distractor. Distractors should be related to the stem, but definitely these are not correct answers, or this can also be related to the correct answer. Okay, so this may lead. Okay, this will be called as distractors talaga sila. All right. Then, for the number 14 suggestion, we need to avoid all of the above as one of the distractors, as one of the alternatives. Okay? And for number 15, do not use none of the above as the best answer because anong mangyayari? The correct answer is none of the above. So, none of the above nga ang answer niya, pero ang problema mo ngayon, ano na ngayon? None of the above is the answer. So, what should be the correct answer? Okay? So, yun yung magiging problema mo. Kahit siya yung best answer, hindi mo pa rin alam or hindi mo pa rin pwedeng sabihin na alam na nila yon kasi in the first place, hindi nila nasabi kung ano talaga yung correct answer doon. Okay? For number 16, avoid giving unintended cues such as making the correct answer longer in length than the distractor. Okay? For number 17, test for important or significant information only. And for 18, we need to focus on single problem or idea for each exam or question. For number 19, keep the vocabulary consistent with students' level of understanding. For number 20, avoid questions based on opinions. All right? We need to avoid opinionated questions. Because we know opinionated questions do not have wrong answers because this was based from their opinions. So there's no wrong opinions because this should be respected. Okay, this should be respected. Because these are the opinions of individuals. So we need to avoid giving opinionated questions. Okay? Ano pa? Use multiple choice to measure higher level thinking. Include the central idea and most of the phrasing in the stem. Number 23, avoid giving clues such as linking the stem to the answer is an example of an or test-wise, students will know the correct answer should start with a vowel. Okay? So you need to avoid that one. Place option in logical or numerical order. So parehas lang po doon sa nasabi kanina. Then for the 25th, use letters in front of options rather than numbers because numerical answers in numbered questions may be confusing to students. For number 26, keep all options homogeneous in content. Okay, they should be relevant from each other. Homogeneous means they are interrelated, yung mga question, yung mga alternatives natin. Pero meron doon sa kanila ang correct answer talaga. For number 27, keep the length of options fairly consistent. And it should preferably short. Okay, do not give a very lengthy choices. Okay, lengthy phrases in the choices or in the alternatives. Avoid specific determinates such as never or always. For the 29th, make sure that there is one and only one correct option. For number 30, incorporate common errors of students in distractors. Number 31, use familiar yet incorrect phrases as distractors. And lastly, we need to avoid the use of humor when developing option. Okay, so these are the important 32 general suggestions when we are writing a multiple choice type of exam. Okay, so for your activity, I want you to construct, okay, I want you to construct a two-way table of specification, okay, table of specification considering 3 to 4 topics which all correspond to a knowledge level as the cognitive objective. The specification will be used as your guide to construct a 10-item multiple choice type of test following the presented guidelines. Okay? So this will be your output for today's meeting. It's all about multiple choice type of exam. So I hope you got the guidelines right, okay? And you have noted all the general suggestions when we are writing a multiple choice type of test. So this will be the end of my video clip presentation for this lesson. So have a good day everyone and thank you for watching and listening. God bless.